Fala galera, Viver aqui e hoje trazendo para vocês mais um aí Pet Note e vamos ter duas partes porque o Pet Note é muito grande, meus amigos, é muito grande mesmo. Então vai ser parte 1 e parte 2, beleza? Vamos iniciar aí com o vídeo do TikTok e a Godspeed. Então vamos lá, vou dar play, não assisti ainda, vou assistir junto com vocês, é 30 minutos de vídeo. E bora lá, posso fazer umas pausas para alguns comentários. Vou tirar aqui minha câmera da frente e vamos dar play.
Welcome to our deep dive on the brand new 12-player raid coming to Throne and Liberty. I'm Godspeed, publishing partner producer for Throne and Liberty, and I'm joined today with our globalization design manager, Tico. We're super excited to share all the details about the massive new challenge, Altar of Calanthea. Today, we're going to cover everything you need to know about the raid, from its inspiration and development to the mechanics, lore, difficulty tiers, and of course, those sweet rewards you will be fighting for.
That's right, and I'm really excited because we'll be covering all of those topics, but we get the special treat of also hearing from some of the developers who directly built the raid from NCSoft, which is always fun.
Yes, it's awesome to get to hear from them, and that's exactly where I think we should start. I don't know about you guys, but I always like to start with how these types of large undertakings started to begin with. What was the inspiration used by the team to get here? Let's hear from our partners about how we got here.
6인 협력 던전을 선보인 이후 저희 스론 앤 리버티의 PVE 컨텐츠를 더 발전시켜야겠다는 필요성을 느꼈습니다. 보다 전략적이고 규모감 있는 핵심 컨텐츠가 필요했다는 것이었고요. 두 개의 파티가 함께 도전할 수 있는 12인 레이드 개발이
Tá, aqui eles... Vou dar uma acelerada, galera, porque eu acho que muita gente não vai ter paciência pra ver, tá bom? Então vou dar uma acelerada aqui. Eu não tô nem aí pra papo de desenvolvedor.
TL에는 아직 공개되지 않은 아키움 군단의 보스들이 존재하는데요. 그중 핵심으로는 카자르가 있고 산하 군단장들 또한 존재합니다. 카자르는 TL을 하신 분들이라면 이미 아시겠지만 가장 강력한 최종 보스가 될 녀석인데요. 최종적으로 이런 카자르를 소개하기 위해서는 늘 원화로만 보시던 레빌 루피우스라든지 캐릭터들의 등장이 필요했습니다. 그런 캐릭터들을 시나리오 내에서 부활시키기 위한 과정 또한 보여드리고 싶었습니다. 이 과정에서 카자르, 레빌 루피우스와 깊은 연관이 있고 또 별은 품은 아이라는 여정에도 깊은 영향을 준 혼돈 마녀의 칼란시아를 첫 12인 레이드 보스로 선정하게 되었습니다. 그녀를 중심으로 혼돈 마녀의 재단이라는 콘텐츠의 구조와 서사를 확장해 가겠습니다. 레이드 공간을 설계할 때 처음 던졌던 질문이 내가 칼란시아라면 레비를 부활시키기 위해서 어떻게 재단을 만들었을까 였습니다. 이 질문을 바탕으로 공간 전체를 기획하게 되었고요. 먼저 적들이 쉽게 찾지 못하도록 좀 외딴 위치에 재단 입구를 숨겨두고 그 앞에 문지기를 배치했습니다. 입구가 발각되더라도 쉽게 접근할 수 없도록 미로 형태의 내부를 설계했죠. 그리고 마지막엔 레빌이 되살았을 때 그가 익숙하게 느낄 만한 양식 그리고 구조를 가진 재단을 구현하면 칼란시아의 의도를 가장 잘 표현할 수 있다고 생각해서 지금과 같은 디자인이 나오게 되었습니다. 이 흐름을 야외, 던전, 재단이라는 점층적 구조로 이어가면서 플레이어가 안으로 들어갈수록 점점 더 칼란시아의 내면 속에 좀 깊은 곳에 들어가는 느낌을 받을 수 있도록 고민을 했습니다.
기존 협력 던전보다 한 단계 고도화된 파티 플레이를 목표로 했습니다. 특히 전투의 흐름에 따라서 시작, 심화, 응용이라는 구조를 구현하고자 했습니다. 첫 번째 보스는 공격 대 PVE 입문, 그리고 두 번째 보스는 협력과 분업의 심화, 마지막 보스인 칼란시아는 모든 시스템을 응용하여 정점이 찍는 전투로 설계되었습니다. 다만 이러한 심화 과정이 너무 어려워 유저분들이 플레이하는데 적응하는데 어려움을 겪으실 수 있는데요. 그래서 칼란시아 레이드는 플레이를 하면서 점진적으로 플레이가 성장할 수 있도록 그 다음에 성숙될 수 있도록 단계별로 고도화시키는 그런 형태로 설계가 되었습니다. 시간이 갈수록 저희가 점점 발전해서 어려움 없이 적응할 수 있도록 기대하고 있습니다.
You know, like it's oftentimes we forget like how much work got put into making this great experience for our games.
Yeah, it really is. Like when you think about a raid, I think as a player, you oftentimes get distracted on just what are the mechanics, how do I kill the boss, and you're really hyper-focused on that. But actually, it's everything that's giving you that really great feeling while you're in there. It's the art, the environment, the music, the lore behind it that's building up to this moment where you want to defeat the boss. So all of that is really what makes the raid feel so unique and special, and there's so much work that has to go into that.
I totally agree with you. Okay, so now let's talk about the important question, right? How the raid actually plays out. Tico, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
All right.
Well, let's start with the basics. First of all, it's a 12-player raid. So it's going to be 2 parties of 6, and you will enter the raid. And the raid is going to have 3 stages or bosses. It's going to be Dragal.
Opa, são 2 grupos de 6 players? Será que vão ser separados?
Vulcan and Zyros and Calanthea. So you'll go with your party, you work your way through, and the main goal, of course, is to get to the end and kill Calanthea.
I see. Okay, first question from that. So you said it's going to be 2 parties of 12 people? Like, how will players find a group? Are we using the same matchmaking system?
Yeah, there'll be 2 parties of 6 people, so it'll be a total of 12 players.
Yeah.
For normal mode, for the base mode, you will be able to use matchmaking in order to enter. And if you go in matchmaking, it'll be the kind of standard team composition: 1 tank, 4 DPS, and 1 healer in each party. But you can also pre-form your party and enter the raid that
Então
way.
assim, você vai dar matchmaking, vai ser 2 grupos, matchmaking, e aí você vai entrar na DG, tipo, com as classes e tal. Entendi.
And of course, then your team composition can be whatever that you want it to be. And we'll see what kind of maybe compositions people think are actually best. Are they going to stick with the traditional, or are they going to go with something else?
Okay, it gives me some idea. Like, our audience know that I play Paladin. Hey, comment if you play Paladin as well. So it's
She
like,
plays Paladin.
oh, come on. I like to RP as well. Just relax. So it got me thinking, like, would this be a good opportunity for me to shine in the raid, like, or the other players who prefer off-meta build?
Yeah, I think it's great. You know, one of the things that was done when the design for the raid was being done is really trying to put more of a focus on kind of having roles and purpose within the raid that weren't necessarily just who does the most raw DPS. I think that's something that you see a lot in co-op dungeons or dimensional trials, for example, where raw DPS is oftentimes king. In the raid, we wanted there to be a lot more strategy, team coordination that was necessary to defeat these mechanics and to give different roles opportunities to shine in this raid. So we are hopeful that there will be kind of different compositions or some of those off-meta classes that come through in the game. So we'll see. I think it should be interesting.
Okay, follow question. I'm going back to what you told me originally. So there's going to be like multiple stages in this raid. There are multiple bosses.
That's right.
And I'm assuming that this raid's going to be pretty difficult. Like, and 12 people getting involved. Like, can I stop in the middle of the raid, or do I have to go from the boss number 1 all the way through Columbia?
Yeah, it's a good question. The raid will take some time, especially early on. You're going to be learning all the mechanics, trying to conquer it. You know, and getting 12 people's schedule aligned can sometimes, take some planning. So you don't have to do the entire raid at once. It'll work very similar to our solo dungeons now, where after each boss, you essentially hit a checkpoint. So anytime you've completed a boss, you've hit a checkpoint, you can come back and pick up from there as well.
Então tu não precisa fazer a DG inteira de uma vez.
I will note is that you can go back and do other bosses. So, if I group with you today, we kill Drygall and then we take a break. If I find a new party tomorrow and they're starting over at Drygall, that's okay. I can come back and still fight against Drygall and then continue with the party from there. So lots of flexibility, but you definitely reach those checkpoints after every boss. You don't get duplicate rewards,
Então
once
vai
you kill.
funcionar como se fosse uma DG solo, tá, galera? Eu sei que eu postei, eu sei que tem uma foto, tá, que eu postei que vai estar, vocês vão ver no Patch Note, parte 2, tá? Eu vou mostrar com mais detalhes. Tá, isso aqui eu tô vendo eles falando mais sobre, que aí eu consegui entender melhor o Patch Note que tá lá do Coreia, que já saiu, tá?
Kill Drygall for that week, then that's the only time that you can get the rewards, but you can go back with the party and do it again if you need to.
Okay, is there any unique mechanic to its bosses?
Yes. I don't want to reveal too many mechanics. Probably the one I'm most excited about, though, is the second stage, where you have Vulcan and Zyros, so you're actually fighting 2 bosses at the same time. These are these twin dragons, fire and ice, so it should be pretty cool. And maybe it's a little bit kind of like the Manticus brothers, where there's 2 bosses and you're kind of trying to deal with them both at the same time. This is definitely going to require a lot more coordination and strategy than the Manticus brothers, I would say. But it's the first time we've really had to have that level of coordination between 2 parties, and especially 2 tanks. I think that historically, our PvE content, the tanks almost a little bit have felt like a solo player. You're doing your own thing, you're trying to keep aggro on the boss, your mechanics are really completed on your own. And in the raid, I think tanks are going to now get to see that coordination between another tank that is really fun, that you've maybe experienced in other MMOs, you'll be able to now. So really excited about that.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm wondering, like, the difficulty itself, because I heard a lot of things about, like, oh yeah, it's going to be difficult, like, players going to get wiped. Can we learn more about this, like, tier difficulty?
Yeah, so there'll be 3 stages, actually, of difficulties. The first stage is normal, the second stage is...
Opa, vamos dar uma pausa. Olha só, a Mitoy, nível 1, nível 2, nível 3 ali, pá, normal. Igual a DG solo, recompensas. Temos ali, ó, esse bagulhozinho que navega a Mitoy, caixa de runa, obsidiana. Calantias token normal, 1 de 1. Então, uma vez que você vai passar, só essa DG? Caralho, 31 mil de gold, hein? Caralho.
It's difficult, and then there'll be a third stage called Nightmare. Yeah. So the first stage, normal, it will have a combat power requirement of 5,000. So that's the same amount that you have right now for our current co-op dungeons. So if you're able to get into our latest co-op dungeon, the 4-star dungeon, you'll be able to enter the raid on the normal mode. And this mode, I would say, it's designed to be challenging, but really accessible as well. We want the majority of our players to come in, be able to enjoy the raid. Yes, it's still going to be challenging. You'll have to progress your way through and learn the mechanics, but generally we view it as a highly completable option for the raid, so really accessible to as many players as possible. Then we start ramping things up. Then we have the difficult version.
Opa, na versão difícil, já temos essa outra opção aqui, ó. Outra opção de recompensa, esse fragmento aqui. Será que com base nesses fragmentos aqui que a gente vai poder fazer essa pedrona também? Ou será que... Bom, vamos ver. No Patch Note parte 2...
and that will have a combat power of 6,000 requirement. And probably a really...
Olha só, caraca, peraí. Então, ao enfrentar cada boss
players
ali,
as possible.
tem uma
Then we start
recompensa.
ramping things
Peraí.
up. Then we have the
Esse boss tem
difficult
essa.
version, and that will have a combat power
Esse boss tem essa.
of 6,000
E ao
requirements.
derrotar Calantia. Caraca, olha só. Caixa de recompensa, meu irmão. Mano, essa capa é da hora, tá? Caraca, mano. Olha o Mitoy. Que da
And
hora,
probably
velho. Que
a
da
really
hora.
a good way to think about the difficulty progression is when you go in normal mode, all the stages, all the bosses, they're just gonna have one phase. So you kill the boss, you move on. In difficult mode, all of these stages now have 2 phases. So every boss will have 2 phases, and that's on top of the harder mechanics, and the mechanics also being more punishing. You know, so that's how that progression will take place.
Okay, what about the nightmare mode? Like I'm imagining right now, will Calanthea just beat the shit out of the players? Like, what's gonna happen?
Well, definitely some paladin players may struggle with the nightmare mode, but I won't say which ones. I just said some. Yeah, nightmare is really actually intended for, I would say, our most hardcore audience. So this is going to be the most challenging PvE content we have in TL. It's not designed with the expectation that everybody can complete it. It's designed specifically to be very challenging, and only for some of our most skilled players to be able to complete it. And that one won't arrive until August. So in August, nightmare mode will unlock. And that's for a couple of reasons. One of them being we expect that you're going to need some of the new heroic gear in order to be able to complete it. But when it does arrive, it's going to be extremely difficult, and a small percentage of our audience will probably be able to beat it. Over time, people will get more powerful gear. You know, it will become easier over time just by the nature of people getting more powerful, but early on it's going to be really difficult.
Okay, I'm super excited. Did you guys hear that? He said something about heroic here. I'm gonna get to that a little bit later. Okay, so this is how I understood so far. The raid, 12-player instance dungeon type content, and like players for normal mode, it's for everyone who plays TL. They can enter the instance, get the reward, and defeat Calanthea. Versus nightmare mode would be it's for whoever wants the hardest challenge.
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think I got it. I'm getting curious about these bosses because their names are quite intriguing, and I've been enjoying the Calanthea's Codex that was released last month. So I want to hear a little bit more about this lore, but I don't think I'm gonna go to Tico for that. I'm gonna just take us back to our partners at NCSoft and see what they have to say about the lore.
이번 모험 코덱스와 외전 코덱스를 진행하면서 과거 저항군과 아키움의 가장 큰 전투였던 벨포르의 전투에 대해 접하시게 되는데요. 칼란시아는 이 전투에서 한쪽팔을 잃고 이후 탐욕의 탑에 갇히게 됐습니다. 그리고 전부의
Like Revel can't be that good. He's okay looking, and
You don't know.
I've seen like illustrations, and I know that he's dead. Like, you have to move on, girl. Okay, where are we? I need to calm down a little bit. Rewards. Let's talk about rewards because I know everyone who are watching this just want to know about like what do we get out of the raid. So we have a multiple difficulties.
Yep.
Like, can we get reward from each difficulty if I just go there like every day?
Yeah. Well, so players who can complete normal and the other tiers can get rewards from all of them. I don't know if you have to necessarily worry about that part, but any player that can complete normal and difficult tier
This guy.
will be able to get the rewards from each of them independently each week.
Okay, I understood. Okay. So what kind of rewards are we talking about? Like, I know before we watched the NCSoft interview, Tico talked about like heroic gear. So I wonder
That's right.
if that's the reward.
Yeah, heroic gear.
Opa, equipamento heróico, vamos ver aí. Olha só. Olha o dano base dela, galera.
Is coming from the raid, so that will be the primary reward that you can get from the raid. Of course, you'll get other things, some materials. Maybe we'll talk about those a little bit later. Some of the standard materials that you get, but the core reward that you're looking for is the new heroic gear.
Okay, let's learn more about this because I've never heard about this. Like, is it a new tier of a like Epic Tier 2?
It's not a new tier, it's a new grade. So, you know, we have grade.
Opa, vamos ver aqui. O base damage aqui, peraí.
Like Epic Tier 2?
It's not a new tier, it's a new grade. So, you know,
Ó. Spear, base damage. Olha, peraí. Back hit chance, attack speed e força.
we have grade.
Sabedoria, eficiência de custo de mana, boss critical hit chance. E será que esse bagulho que a gente consegue trocar? Parece que tá em laranja, vocês estão vendo? Eu acho que a gente pode até trocar, ó. Parece que tem uma setinha
green,
de
blue, purple, or...
reroll, ó, tá vendo, ó? Acho que a gente vai poder alterar essa porra aqui, tá? Ó, nós apresentamos, você sabe que temos cinza, verde, azul, roxo. Ó, Winslow. Ó, tem alguma coisa aqui, ó, que não foi equipada, que é a passiva, que é a característica da arma. Lembra dos arquiboss e tal? Então, eu acho que esse PVP range critical hit chance, a gente troca. Tá vendo que tem um íconezinho de reroll aqui, ó? Provavelmente a gente vai conseguir trocar. Base damage aí da staff, pra quem quer ver.
Common, uncommon, rare, epic. So now
Vamos ver o base damage agora do arco. Dextre, range, boss. Ó, o base damage aí também tá Tá legal.
Heroic will be a new grade of gear.
Crossbow, vamos ver aqui de novo. Dexterity, bônus damage. Olha só, off-hand, mano. Caraca.
But it won't be a new tier specifically, just a new grade.
Dagger, vamos ver. Dexterity, critical hit chance. Caralho. Galera, vocês vão ter aí praticamente não sei dizer, eles não mostram mais do que esse terceiro slot, mas provavelmente vai ter um slot garantido aí para vocês trocarem, né? E colocar o que vocês querem. Acho que é para isso que serve aquele fragmentozinho que nós vimos ali anterior.
Okay, so what's so unique about this one? Like, how is it different than the tier 2 epic?
Yeah, so in terms of power, I would say when you get a heroic piece of gear, the power of it at +0 is going to be equivalent to your current tier 2 epic +12. So right out of the gate, it's going to have equal power.
Caraca! É isso mesmo que eu li? Quando você obter um equipamento heróico,
+0 is going to be equivalent to your current tier 2 epic +12. So right out of the gate, it's going to have equal power, and that's something that we're really excited about. You know, we wanted that when you go through this tier 2. I would say when you get a heroic piece of gear, the power of it at +0 is going to be equivalent to your current tier 2 epic +12. So right out of the gate, it's going to have equal power, and that's something that we're really excited about. You know, we wanted that when you go through the struggle of the raid, you're learning all the mechanics, you're having your progression nights, you're really trying to get to the end, and when you finally do get that piece of heroic gear, you can feel like you can immediately wear it. You know, it's equivalent or better than any of the gear you're currently wearing. We wanted you to have that feeling where you could immediately equip it. So the power that it has, or the stats basically, will be equivalent to a tier 2 +12 item for epic tier 2 +12 item.
Interesting about this, because I was kind of reading through our design document. Of course, people feeling this. I have to do my homework, guys. I read something about skill swapping ability or a skill perk.
Yeah, so that will be for the weapons. So heroic weapons, you know, typically our epic weapons comes with some sort of passive skill applied to it. And so the heroic weapon, rather than having just one passive skill, it actually...
Opa, aí ó, extração. Olha aqui, senhores. Extração, tá vendo que tem essa marquinha aqui, ó, tá item vendível.
It doesn't come with a base passive skill. Instead, it'll be...
Deixa eu tirar aqui. Tu vai precisar de um novo item para você extrair, ó. Então você vai precisar de um pergaminho para extrair e não vai poder estar treitado, ó, tá vendo, ó? Ou seja, teremos que ir atrás de novos itens.
This new system where you can extract skills from other epic weapons. So any tier 2 epic weapon or also the tier 1 arc boss weapons, you can extract that skill and then you essentially imprint it on the heroic weapon. So
aí tu vai lá, imprint, outro pergaminho e pum, tu vai ter ali as suas skill core para,
you know, basically you can choose any of the passives that you want and put it on your most powerful weapon. I mean, I think this is going to have crazy implications to the meta and what people are doing and what are the weapon combinations that can be successful or not. And so you will be able to equip it that way. You do have to keep longbow to longbow or sword to sword. You can't take a sword passive and put it on a longbow heroic weapon.
Peraí. Então só de
doing and what are the weapon combinations that can be successful or not. And so you will be able to equip it that way. You do have to keep longbow to longbow or sword to sword.
Então, vocês vão poder só manter, então, questão de ser espadão de espadão, se é uma passiva de espadão só no espadão, de arco longo, dagger, dagger.
You can't take a sword passive and put it on a longbow heroic weapon, but so you do have to keep the weapon type, but you can swap between them.
Okay, so just to make sure if I understood correctly, because it's a brand new system. So that I have a epic tier 2. Let's say my favorite great sword, of course. The Cord is Warblade of Creeping Doom.
Do you have one of those?
Maybe not. But let's say
I didn't know that sword dropped from the Wolf event.
Oh my God, so distracting. Okay, what if I have the great
if you
sword?
have it. Okay, got
and
it.
because I love it. I mean, everyone loves it. It's the passive ability, like the skill coming from the great sword. So I can extract that skill and imprint it onto, like, great sword. I got it off of raid. Is that correct?
Yeah, basically. So if you get the initial weapon, then you'll be allowed to extract that skill, and that essentially goes into its own little item, like a skill perk item, and then that item can be imprinted onto the weapon. There will be a cost to imprinting.
Olha ali! 2 habilidades, galera, que a gente vai poder dar reroll, mano! Caralho! 4, mano! Caralho!
So it won't be something that you can just do, I go to a co-op dungeon, I do a new one, then I come out of it and I swap back. You won't be swapping quite that often, but you will have the ability to swap between them. So if for a period of time you want to try one of the passes, maybe you don't like it as much, you can swap to another one, and you won't lose anything that you swap in and out. So there is a cost to kind of apply a new one, but you don't lose the one that you had. So you're always going to be able to collect more and more of these skill perks if you want, and then you can test them out, try them on your raid weapon, see if they work for you, and swap them in and out freely. So that part's pretty cool. And also that will be for not just arc boss weapons. Any tier 2 epic weapons will be able to do that as well.
That's fantastic. I'm quite excited about this. I know my guild members and other friends are excited about this. I think it's going to change the PvP scene a lot.
I think so,
yeah. Okay, guys, get your brain going. Come up with like new meta, and let's see, we can have fun. So new grade of weapon set coming from the raid. Like, how do we upgrade this? Like, can we stack up some mats right now? Or
yeah, good question. So no, you can't. So you will upgrade it. Well, maybe you can a little bit. So you will upgrade it with growth stones. So very similar process to what we do now. So that whole craft the growth stone and then use it to upgrade your weapon, that will basically remain the same. But what will change is the recipe for the growth stone.
Opa, é uma nova pedra de upgrade. Ah, o fragmento. É pra upar a arma.
So there will be some new materials that come out of the raid. There's going to be entropy shards and there's going to be chaos prisms. So chaos prisms is what will be used as materials for crafting these new heroic
Puta merda, mano. Vai ser coisa... Nossa, mano.
growth stones. And so you will have to play the raid in order to acquire those and get them in order to craft the growth stones and then level up your weapon. So the general concept of how you do it is remaining the same, but the materials needed to craft those growth stones, it's now going to come out of the raid. And so that's similar but different from tier 2. And there's probably some, maybe it's not leveling it up, but there's differences in the traits for heroic gear. And so we mentioned that the weapons have this new skill perk system, but the armor and the accessories, the accessories actually will come in August with the Nightmare mode, but the weapons and armor, which will release on June 26th, they will be different in 2 ways. One, you'll be able to change the base stats on the actual piece of gear. So let's say that you get a...
Opa, aí ó, alterar as estatísticas. Então vamos ver o que a gente precisa aqui para alterar as estatísticas, tá aqui embaixo. Olha só, nossa senhora! 800, mano! 230. Aí você tem aqui selecionar, force, perception, crítico, base, weaken. E ó a lista aqui, mano.
Heroic gear and it has dexterity on it and you wanted wisdom, there will be a way through conversion stones and again through one of the materials that drops in the raid to convert it, in this case the entropy shards, to convert from dexterity to wisdom. So that's something that's pretty cool. I think really one of the things you can look at with heroic gear is just the flexibility that you're going to have within it. You're going to be able to change those base stats and then you'll be able to do the weapon perk system as well. And then lastly is there will be a special trait on the unique.
Opa, vamos lá. Heroic trait, tá. Uma característica especial.
Gear. So you'll have your 3 normal traits, but
Nossa senhora, velho! Meu Deus do céu! Que é isso, mano? Eles vão ter que facilitar esse farm aqui de unlock, mano. Olha isso aqui, gente. Olha isso aqui, velho. Que roubado, mano. A ressonância, velho. Praticamente a ressonância. Caralho. Mano. Caraca, bicho.
but then you'll also have a special trait for base stats as well.
Okay, speaking of accessories, I know our players been going to Nebula Island for those juicy rings, and now we're getting new accessories. Like, how would you compare this to, like, Nebula versus Raid accessories?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that they are just going to go together. You'll only be able to wear one accessory at a time, and again, these accessories will roughly have the same power as an Epic Tier 2 at plus 12. So, of course, Nebula accessories are some of our most powerful accessories that are in the game. Those aren't going to go away. They're still going to be useful for players just because of the fact that you can only wear one heroic accessory, and so you'll find which one you want to replace, but if you have all those Nebula ones already, you'll definitely keep them.
Okay, got it. Is there any other rewards besides, like, weapons and equipment?
Yes. So you'll get the materials that I mentioned, the entropy shards and the chaos prisms, and those will be used for, the entropy shards will be used for several things. You'll use them to unlock traits on your heroic
Deixa eu ver. Ah, para desbloquear trait, tá? Vamos
gear
ver.
along with trait unlock stones.
Ah, nossa senhora, velho. Meu amigo, nossa senhora. O meu farm vai cantar, senhoras e senhores.
weapons, so you'll pair them together to unlock traits on your heroic gear. You also use them for conversion, and then we will also allow you to craft heroic gear with those entropy shards. So you'll do the raid, you'll do entropy shards, you'll get some entropy shards, and then you'll be able to...
Que é isso? Olha isso aqui, cara. Olha o tanto que é. Ó, o set é 80, a arma custa 100. Isso no novo personagem de compra, tá? Meu irmão do céu.
Craft heroic gear with that. Chaos prisms, as I mentioned, serve the function of helping to level up your gear, your heroic gear.
You will have to collect this entropy shard from the raid, and then you can craft heroic gear. Is that correct?
It's more like you can craft heroic gear with the entropy shards, but if you defeat Calanthea, you will get heroic gear directly from that, and it is guaranteed to get a heroic piece. So you're not going to go in there and defeat Calanthea and not get any heroic gear. It is a guaranteed chance to get heroic gear. It will vary, is it a weapon, is it an armor, or which weapon, but you are guaranteed to get a heroic piece, even on normal difficulty. And of course, if you do it in the second tier on difficult, then you'll get 2 pieces per week as well. So you will get heroic gear directly from the raid. As you go up in difficulty, there are some chances to get selection boxes so that then you can choose the specific piece you want. But anybody who completes the raid will get a heroic piece of gear.
Oh,
as
that's
drops.
fantastic.
Yeah. And then aside from all that power, we're also going to have some amatoys for all the bosses that you can earn in any of the difficulties. Of course, if you do more than one difficulty, you have more chance to get it. And then when Nightmare Mode comes out, we're really excited. We'll have a unique morph specific to Nightmare Mode that you can earn only for those players who are able to complete it.
Oh, the privilege, guys. Okay, because I really enjoyed the Valentress Amatoy, the carefree Calanthea. I think it's super cute. I hope the dev team continue to make our boss-based Amatoys, because I just love watching them just running around in the world. Speaking of Amatoy, actually, we just had a community event where players would color our Amatoy. And can you tell us what happened? I know Tico specifically vote for this one particular Amatoy, and that's the winner, actually.
Okay, but there's no conspiracy theory here. That's just the one that got the most votes. Yeah, I'm kind of a sucker for, like, the submission had this kind of pencil drawing effect on it, and I really do like those. And I think we'll probably be showing what it looks like now. It's ready to go. It's going to be in-game when the raid launches, and it'll basically be a reward for killing Calanthea. So we'll have a codex tied to the raid. One of those will be to defeat Calanthea, and if you do, this will be a reward that you get from it as a guaranteed reward. So we're really excited for this to be in the community. It was so fun doing the contest, and now seeing it, in the raid.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
All right, that covers everything we wanted to share about the new raid for today. Thanks to our partners at NCSoft for all their incredible work to bring this experience to all of our players. And of course, Tico, thank you for all the awesome information.
Of course, I'm happy to be here, and I can't wait to experience this raid with my guild and all of you in Silesium.
Remember, the raid opens on June 26th in just a few days. So get your friends, meet at the altar of Calanthea, and get ready to raid. Until then, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you soon in Silesium. Bye!
Vamos ver se tem algum código. Vai, código. Tem um códigozinho? Credo. Bom, senhores, é isso. Deixa eu voltar aqui minha careca aqui. É isso, tá? Temos bastante coisa aí, né, mano? Porque, cara, é muita coisa mesmo. Eu vou pegar agora o Patch Note, já sabendo do que veio aí no vídeo. Tivemos uma prévia aí do que vai vir no vídeo. Vou trazer agora o Patch Note parte 2, tá? Parte 2, aí com buffs, nerfs, como vai funcionar algumas coisas, onde está o portal para você entrar nessas paradas. Eu já dei uma breve olhada ali por cima, mas eu não quero demorar muito. Eu tô aqui para trazer informação para vocês de primeira, beleza? Então, sem enrolação, vamos lá. Eu vou me virar agora aqui. Não esquece já de acompanhar o próximo vídeo. Eu vou ficando por aqui temporariamente e até o próximo vídeo. Valeu, falou e até mais.